Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I am Chris Witt. With me, as always, is Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, I'm not going to ask you how you're doing today because I know that you're doing amazing. We've got a huge show today. This is our 50th episode of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Congratulations on half a century.
Thank you. I'm not that far off from you congratulating me on living half a century, actually. But
I think we're closer to the 50th podcast than to you.
I think we are too, thank God.
So before we go any further, we have a special guest with us today. He's the best-looking man on four wheels, host of the Cheap Seats on UCLA Radio, my main man, Tyler Roope. Tyler, how are you today?
I am beyond happy right now that I am on this show. Let me tell you. Number one fan.
We are you are the number. You're if you're not the number one fan, you are without a doubt one of the top two.
Well,
out of three.
I will take it.
No.
And we appreciate it all. And like I said, Tyler hosts a sports show on UCLA Radio. Yes, everybody listening in Ohio right now, that is L.A. He lives in Los Angeles. He goes to school at UCLA. He does their sports radio show. It's called The Cheap Seats. Check it out, UCLAradio.com. Tyler, what's your tweeter? What's your tweet follow?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. My Twitter and Instagram, by the way, is both Tyler Roope, so it's just my name. That's it.
Nice and easy.
Pretty straightforward, yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
I didn't realize it was your 50th episode.
I just realized it about 5 seconds before we came on, and I decided to make it a thing.
Wow, and apparently from the comments, it's Ken Griffey Jr.'s MLB debut anniversary as well.
It
Wow,
is.
how about that?
That's my favorite baseball player of all time.
Okay, so why we say that? So Ken Griffey Jr., my favorite baseball player while I was alive. He's mine as well. Favorite baseball player of all time is Lou Gehrig. Favorite baseball players that I lived was Ken Griffey Jr. Now, real quick for you, you're a huge Cincinnati fan. So you love the Bearcats, big Bearcat fan. You got Gary Clark does a little intro for your radio show.
Yep.
Gary Clark versus Jaron Cumberland. Who you like better?
Gary Clark.
Is Gary Clark your favorite UC basketball player?
Well, let me tell you, at UCLA, the Rockets came to practice at one of our facilities, and I was lucky enough to be able to meet them, right? So I met James Harden, Chris Paul, and at the time, Carmelo was still there, and Gary Clark. I was most excited to meet Gary Clark.
To meet Gary Clark. Gary Clark's the last guy that comes out. Everybody walks away, and Tyler's flying up there.
What happened? That is exactly... And he had his University of Cincinnati sweatshirt on. I had my Cincinnati Reds hat. Love it first sight. I swear.
Nice.
Hey, fantastic.
Does James Harden use product in his beard?
Oh, I believe so.
I think so. I think so too. I feel like I see it.
Doesn't everybody use product in their beard now? I feel like you walk. If anybody's got a beard, they want to tell you what their beard cream or whatever is.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Huh.
We have a cousin that is obsessed with beard stuff. Mike Edwards loves his beard. Loves his beard paraphernalia.
He and Bob grow as good beards as I've seen.
It's 100%. All right, so we got a big show today. Like I said, it's the 50th episode. We got the Final Four coming up. We'll preview a little bit about that. We got obviously the nickname tournament that we do. We'll get into that a little bit later. The Reds are doing what the Reds do, and we'll get into that and some other things. So, and plenty of stories for Tyler with Tyler. All right, so let's start off. Final Four preview coming up. What do you think about what? First off, what about that Elite Eight? Was that not the? I feel like there was a couple games in there that were the games of the tournament. I mean, you got the Duke game. You have the Kentucky Auburn game was phenomenal. I was actually in Kentucky at a place called Newport on the Levee when Kentucky and Auburn were playing, and everything was a foul at the end of that game. Apparently, every clean block is now a foul if you live in Kentucky.
Imagine that.
So tell me what you think, Tyler.
Yeah, okay. Every game I watched with my dad at home, we were so ecstatic every game because no matter who went lost, it was tight to the very, very end.
Exactly.
Texas Tech with their defense and Auburn on the other side with their fast pace, that was just probably the most exciting NCAA set of games I've ever watched. I really do believe so.
I agree. And the problem is you know that this Final Four is going to be boring. I feel like that's going to happen. I feel like there was so much good basketball over the weekend that Final Four is just going to be ho-hum.
You guys are making me feel so bad because I had several things going on last weekend. I saw exactly 5 minutes of the Elite Eight.
Wow.
And that was I got home and turned on right as the jump ball for the overtime of the Virginia game was going on. That was Virginia-Purdue, and so I watched overtime of that game, and that was all the Elite Eight. But I heard about all the great games, and it was just I'm upset that I missed it. But
all right, so let's get here. We're going to start with Adam. Adam, Auburn, hottest team in college basketball right now by far.
Yes.
Minus O'Keefe, I believe that he's not going to play again for the rest of this tournament, no matter how far they go, versus Virginia, the twice number one seed last year, losing in the first round, first ever. Number one seed lose to a 16. Now in the Final Four, who you got?
So in this game, in the bracket that we filled out against each other.
Okay, we'll get into that. Tell me right now.
I did. So in the bracket pool that you and I did, me versus you in a bet.
Yes.
I picked Virginia to win this game and go to the championship game against Duke and then lose to Duke. But
I had Tennessee versus Kentucky in this game, so I can tell you pretty much where I ended up.
Gotcha. So I got Virginia in this game. Tyler, what do you have?
Well, I had Duke UNC in the final, so that went right out the window. In my bracket tournament, I have no one in the final. I'm rooting for Auburn. I'm gonna be the number one Auburn fan for the next week.
I'm good with that. I kind of like that. I'm gonna tell you, coming into this tournament, I was talking about how I really like the top 5 SEC teams, and this Auburn team is as hot as anybody can be right now. And Bruce Pearl is just a polarizing figure that I tend to like.
Explode.
Oh, all the time. All the time.
Yeah.
He's the only person I've ever seen that gets redder than Mick Cronin.
How is he not like 100 pounds? He loses 50 pounds of water weight in every game.
Dude's a party animal. That dude is a party animal. You ever seen when he was at Tennessee, the pictures that came out with him at the parties in Tennessee? That dude ate like a monster. He drank like a killer. I love me some Bruce Pearl.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Adam, because you're the expert, I feel like, on all this. But with Auburn, since they beat North Carolina, Kentucky, and Kansas, if they beat Virginia and then beat a Michigan State in the final, would that be the greatest run to win a championship?
Whew.
You know, it could, because
especially being a 5.
Now, yeah, and you're talking about all those blue bloods, of course. I need to find a different name for those things. I'm
blue bloods.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But beating all those teams, and all of those teams, now Kansas was the weakest team of those teams that you mentioned, and they were still pretty good. I mean, they were good this year. It was the first year in however many 15, 16, whatever 10,000 years that they didn't win the Big 12, but they were still really good. But they beat them, and then they beat those other teams, and yeah, I mean, those teams are really good teams as well. So I mean, you feel like some years you're going to have one or two of those teams that are down, and then maybe it makes a little more sense for Auburn to get through that. But
they weren't down this year.
Really, none of those teams were really down.
Unbelievable. Just to be a 5 seed and get to where you get anymore, especially the way that these tournaments go chalk so much. Mm-hmm. Well, especially this year.
This one definitely.
It really is amazing. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Texas Tech. Everybody's talking about this Texas Tech defense versus the great Tom Izzo. Let's be honest. Michigan State's not in the Final Four. Tom Izzo's in the Final Four.
Yeah, there have been years where Michigan State seemed like they weren't as good as normal, and they go every one of those years they go on a run to like at least the Elite Eight. And so when they're really good and they get to the Final Four, like it just even in their down years, they end up making a big run in the tournament.
It's
I feel
amazing.
Like. And that says a lot about coaching. I agree with you. I think it's a lot to do with Tom Izzo.
Yeah, and real quick, Cassius Winston, I don't know if I've seen recently another player that's better on the floor and off as like a leader. Because he seems to do both of those things very well.
This guy's getting all kinds of love right now.
He is.
Yeah. And that being said, Texas Tech, they could win. It's all about pacing, I think. Because they're a very slow, methodical defensive team. Michigan State, a little faster. So it's a little more up in the air to me, but I still think Michigan State wins.
I like Michigan. I'm with you on this because I like Michigan State in this game for the exact reasons you talked about. I feel like Michigan State, even if you slow them down, they have enough shooters and enough individual players that can create for themselves and get a good shot in a set. They don't have to run. I'm with you on that. Whereas with Texas, they like it one way and one way only. And, well, I don't know if it's one way only. I haven't watched too much Texas Tech this year, so I can't really say. But you hear all about this defense. You gotta love Michigan State. It's Tom Izzo, and to be honest, the NCAA. I'm real quick. So Tyler, you do a little conspiracy thing on your show every now and then, and I'm telling you right now that the NCAA, if there's any kind of conspiracy they can get, they want Izzo in the championship because other than that, it's going to be Texas Virginia or Texas Auburn, and that is going to be a not very much watched game.
I completely agree. Although, if you watch the right people on Texas Tech, it is very fun.
Sure.
Shout out to David Moretti. He's the Italian player. I love watching that guy play. Texas Tech 3-point shooter. Fantastic. Just seems like a nice guy too. So
has there ever been a Italian basketball player that was more than a 3-point shooter?
That's a great question. I'm going to probably say no.
Adam is thinking hard.
I am
now.
thinking really hard.
I can see the smoke. Yes, the smoke coming out of his ears.
To ever pick up a basketball.
He's trying to figure out the difference between a French player and an Italian player.
I know the difference between French and Italian.
How close is Greece to Italy?
I've never been to any of those places.
Is Greece in Italy? How does that work?
Absolutely not.
Is Greece and Italy two separate countries?
Yeah.
Look, man, I am not a world traveler.
Hey,
I failed geography terribly. So I'm the guy who says, what name 3 countries? And I'm like, Ohio, Texas, and America.
Do you think Giannis Antetokounmpo, looking at him, is Italian?
No, I didn't say they look the same. I said that they just could be in the same area.
That's my favorite basketball player, by the way.
Yeah, it's way hard not to love that guy.
Man, I'll tell you what, I really like Giannis, but I'm going to go out on a limb, and I got to go with LeBron James.
Oh, imagine that.
Surprise.
I hope he's enjoying his vacation.
Yeah.
It's a long one.
It is. Yeah, good.
Extended vacation.
I hear you.
Before we close out the Final Four stuff, Tyler, you mentioned the pace in the Michigan State-Texas Tech game. I think you're correct on that, and I think it's going to be even bigger in this Virginia-Auburn game.
I agree 100%.
And I think it's really, really, really interesting to me. It kind of feels like because it's about that matchup, and it kind of feels like in MMA. Chris, I know you were Tyler. I don't know if you ever got into MMA a lot, but that striker versus grappler, matchup. It's so interesting because they're so different.
Yeah,
and whoever imposes their will, whoever imposes their style of play, more so than the other team, you expect to win. I mean, of course, free throws and rebounding and stuff like that, all that stuff comes into play. So no matter what pace you play, you're going to have to do those two things as well. But it's going to be really fun to watch Auburn try to force Virginia into turnovers. Virginia doesn't turn the ball over very often, but it's going to be fun to watch Auburn. And Auburn turns people over a lot. So which one of those is going to prevail?
Yep.
And then if Auburn turns them over, they get to run like they want to. If they don't, if Virginia takes care of the ball, they're gonna milk the clock. They're gonna shoot threes and rebound and stuff like that, and it's gonna be a slower paced game. And Auburn can probably play with them in that style, but that is definitely going to favor.
So Virginia is Auburn has went down in that Kentucky game by 10, 12, 13 points in the first half. They can't do something like that against Virginia because they're not going to have nearly as many opportunities late in the game to get themselves back into it. So that's going to be a big thing. You got to make sure you don't get down early if you're Auburn. And I'm rooting for Auburn also in that game just because I want to see Chuck. I want to see Charles Barkley. You know, I'm a big Charles Barkley guy.
Me too.
I hear you. Adam can't stand him.
I know.
That's not true.
You loved him as a player. You hate him as a media member.
Yeah, kind of.
I think that there should be a small little box at the top right of everyone's TV during the game that live streams Charles Barkley.
Yes.
I believe that. I think they should have had that for every game. It would be great television.
Oh, my gosh.
It wouldn't be good television because for most games, I guess maybe for the Auburn game, but for most games, he probably sleeps. He probably
eats a lot.
He probably just sits there.
We're just talking about the Auburn game. Just Auburn.
Well, yeah, just Auburn. That's all. And also on that note, real quick, I'm sorry. What are your guys' opinions on Bill Walton's commentating?
I'm not going first on this. You go, Adam. Go.
I think he eats a bag of mushrooms before he goes on.
There we go.
One.
We're on the same page.
All right.
That's fine. On the same page.
I think I'm going to leave it at that.
All right. So I find it odd that no matter who he does the game with, they get on each other way harder than
it's uncomfortable, right?
It is. It gets super uncomfortable because I think people don't like doing the game with Bill Walton because you can't call the game. You can say, Bill, whatever happens, a guy makes a nice move and dunks it, and Bill Walton will start talking for 5 straight minutes. Start by about this drop step that this guy had, and end it as in a Grateful Dead concert he went to.
Reminds
50
me
years
of
ago.
Jerry Garcia, the greatest rock musician ever.
I love Bill Walton. I love Bill Walton, but it's like me. It's like how you are with Charles Barkley. I love Bill Walton. In every possible way except when he's calling a game. I love the fact that he's on the West Coast. And Tyler, I'm sorry you got to deal with him out there on the West Coast.
That's what I'm saying. I watch him all the time. That's why I'm asking.
I can't. I'm so happy he only does West Coast games.
You guys have to play Bill Walton bingo. It helps.
Bill Walton. What is Bill Walton bingo?
I'm glad you asked. So, you can go online and you print out a sheet of Bill Walton bingo. And if he says certain phrases, you cross off the square, and whoever gets the first bingo wins.
I'm sure it's also a drinking game.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure.
Oh, I guarantee it. You play bingo, I'll play drinking game.
That sounds right, too. I was unsure about Bill Walton, whether I liked him or not. And what made me so unsure, a few games back, it was one of the Pac-12 tournament games. He was describing Bol Bol, I think, on Oregon, and he described him as a giant among shriveling midgets. And I just I'm not 100% sure that that's even almost okay to say on national television.
No, I guarantee it's not. Oh, so God love him.
From that day on, I've had lots of questions.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's my Bill Walton story.
He's got that peyote rolling through his veins or whatever. And
Something.
He loves that cactus juice. Oh, goodness.
Cactus juice.
I don't know. Isn't that what peyote is? Something
from a cactus? I have no idea. I know
some kind of cactus
I know
juice.
Bill Walton and Phil Jackson smoke it.
Oh, goodness. All right. So then let's go. We basically all think that Michigan State's going to win the Texas Tech game. Virginia and Auburn is two of us got Auburn. Tyler and me are Auburn. You're a Virginia guy, I believe in this. Is that correct?
So I think Michigan State and Virginia are going to win these games. I'm rooting for Texas Tech and Auburn.
Sure.
Yes.
So then who's going to win the whole thing? Who's got this whole thing? I'm going Michigan State just because it's Michigan State. It's Tom Izzo. He's the only big dog left. I'd love to see Auburn do it. I'd actually like to see Virginia as well. I like Virginia a lot. I enjoy the way they play basketball. It's just, I feel like it's Michigan State's year, the way this is all set up. Go ahead,
Do you
Tyler.
want my heart answer or my head answer?
Both.
They're
Both.
two different. Oh boy. I really want Auburn so bad to win because I believe if they win the whole thing, it is one of, if not the best, run through the tournament a team has had in a very long time, at least. But that being said, I truly think Michigan State's going to win, and pretty easily, actually. So that's my opinion.
Adam?
I kind of want to see – now, I don't have any problem with Michigan State, but I kind of want to see anybody but Michigan State just because they've been there so many times.
For the same reason we just said that we think they're going to win.
No, well, yeah, also to be different than you guys, but I or you, but
You're not goating me into a bet.
I want I don't know. I just would like to I like all these teams. I just like all these teams, so I think I would like to see either Virginia or Auburn. I think the winner of that game I would like to see win.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm good with that. If you're just joining us live on the FaceTube, we are here on our 50th anniversary with Mr. Tyler Roope, host of the Cheap Seats on UCLARadio.com. Thanks for joining us. And and real quick, before we're done with the Final Four, go ahead, Adam. It's time to brag and let everyone know what you did in our bet.
Well, we a few weeks ago, at the beginning of this tournament, we decided to do a Nosebleed Sports podcast pool, and just go against each other. You were beating me, and then I, in come from behind fashion, picked up a couple games in the Elite Eight, I guess, in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight.
I don't
guess,
have
over
anyone
over
left,
that
so
weekend.
if you have one, you won.
So I had Virginia. Yeah, I had Virginia still in it there. So anyway, we're the scoring is done. I can score again if Virginia wins, but
it's over. I can't score anymore. Congratulations. I now have to wear a T-shirt that is a Vinny the Microwave Johnson. Did I say his name right?
Yes.
Vinny the Microwave Johnson T-shirt. Adam is saved.
I've got some things in the works for that.
All right.
So tune in next week. We will have something
I
for
kind of
you.
want one.
Adam is there. You go. Well, Adam might have a place where you can get one. Adam is saved from having to drink the iced coffee.
That's right. Okay, can you explain to me why that's so bad? Do you hate coffee?
First
Because
off,
coffee's
Tyler,
gross.
it's just Adam.
Yeah.
There's no other way to explain it. So,
Say no more.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Tyler. Until about a year ago, if you put an iced coffee in front of me, I would have thrown up in it. Now,
Really?
I'm not an iced coffee guy, but I'm a coffee guy, and I like my coffee like I like my men, strong and black.
Whoa.
Just saying.
Well, I'm
Just
gonna
saying.
take that soundbite.
That's
That's my new intro.
Yeah, you can take it. Ask LeBron, he'll tell you.
That's beautiful.
I
There you
bet
go.
he will.
That worked out perfectly.
So congratulations to Adam. We appreciate it. Or not, we appreciate it. Congratulations to Adam on your victory.
You're
I will
welcome.
be wearing,
You're welcome for winning the bet.
I will be wearing the Vinny, the Microwave Johnson T-shirt.
Okay, so we're in the Final Four now, right? Coming up on Saturday, you get the Final Four, and then Monday's the championship game. We are also now in the Final Four of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, Greatest Nicknames in NBA History, presented by Training Personally with Peggy Edwards. Chris, when was the last time you worked out?
I can honestly say a month ago.
Okay, what level would you say you are as an exercisist? Beginner, intermediate, or
Is there
advanced?
something under beginner?
Novice?
Me.
Okay, I'm a novice. Okay, then I'm a novice. I'm Tyler.
You are not a novice. That's untrue.
Okay, intermediate or whatever you
but
say.
it doesn't matter anyway. No matter your level of fitness, that was the word I
Amen.
chose to forget. Beginner, intermediate, advanced. If you like to be challenged a little bit or a lot, if you just like to be challenged, you need a little boost to get yourself going, get yourself motivated, to get in shape, and you want the benefit of working out with a personal trainer, but you don't want to pay for one.
Yeah. I
They're
don't-
way too expensive.
Oh my gosh, dude! Personal trainers are like $100 an hour.
Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is for you.
Oh well,
If you are in that situation.
I've been there. I've actually been there. She's a unbelievable person, and it's a fun atmosphere. And yeah, I got stronger that day.
A month ago.
A month ago.
It's interval circuit training. It's for all levels. You work out to your capabilities. At your own pace. And her biggest strength, besides the relationship she will develop with you very, very quickly, is modifying the exercises, modifying the entire program to fit where you're at, your level. You have a nagging injury, something like that. She can modify things to make it so that you get stronger, healthier.
If I want to know more about this, where do I go?
You can visit Training Personally with Peggy Edwards on Facebook, YouTube, and at trainingpersonally.com.
And if you mention
And on
Instagram. Man, we always forget about the
She's on
IG.
Instagram?
I don't know. I forget about IG all the
She
time.
is. She follows me.
There you go.
Good.
So, if you want to be like us and be strong and fit like Adam,
Well,
Adam's the most fit man I've ever met.
Mentally strong.
that's
Mentally strong.
That's.
Speaking of mentally strong,
I have nothing
how does
there.
This,
I don't know
how
how
does
to-
this happen to us? We're 22 votes in. We are 22 votes in, and it is tied right now to get to the final four. To get
It's
to the
still
final
tied?
four, the Magic Johnson has made a miraculous comeback against the glove to
the
tie.
glove
Yeah,
made
to
a
tie it up.
comeback?
Oh, was it the glove that made the
Yeah.
comeback? All right, so the
Magic
glove
was
made
up.
the comeback. So Gary Payton, the glove, the 10 seed in the nickname contest is now tied with Irvin Magic Johnson. You still got 2 hours to vote. So we're going to need at least one vote here.
Please, somebody get on
Please,
there
somebody
and
vote because Adam will die.
Wow.
Adam might die tonight if somebody doesn't vote. We can't have this. We can't have a tie.
Look, this is the last one to see who gets into the final four of this tournament.
And if it ends in a tie, we're flipping a coin. Heads Magic, tails the glove. Deal?
Okay.
Or do you want to do?
Okay.
Flip a coin.
Okay. What do you think we should do, Tyler?
Bring it to Twitter, man.
Oh, we did that before.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
And it ended up in a tie on Twitter too.
Oh,
Bring it to
Jesus
Instagram.
Lord. All right, well, I'm
Keep
not.
going.
I
There you
am
go.
not going to. I am not
Bring it
going to
to the
vote
streets.
on the tweeter. If it ends, I won't vote on your poll on Twitter. If it ends in a tie, then I will make my vote.
Okay.
If it doesn't end in a tie, then I just won't vote, and the winner's the winner.
Okay. So but that's only if
That's
this
only if
one.
this ties. Get on
Yeah.
Nosebleed Sports Podcast on the FaceTube and check it out. You got Facebook. I'm sorry, I say that so often. I actually think that's what it's called now. 2 hours, so till about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning.
The winner of this matchup will face the mailman, Karl Malone.
Yes.
But for next week, it will be the number 1 seed, the Dream, Hakeem Olajuwon versus the man with 2 nicknames, the Hick from French Lick and Larry Legend.
So the Dream, who ends in a tie to in his very first round against the 16 seed, the Answer, has made it to the
I
final
like the
four.
Answer.
I love the Answer, Tyler. I wanted that to be
I love the Answer.
I wanted that to
How
be
is
a-
that 16?
Better than the Dream, though?
Here's the deal, Tyler.
Better than 16. That's all I'm saying.
We came up with 16. We came up with 16 names. I think we had 18, and we went back and forth picking, and it was probably not the best way, not the best done, but it is what it is. I agree with you though.
That's fair.
The Answer. Adam hated the Answer. I was
Why?
only allowed to take it last.
That's so not true.
Why'd you hate the Answer?
I didn't hate the Answer as a
You hated the
nickname.
No,
Answer.
yes.
As a nickname, it's okay. I'm not a fan of the guy.
That is exactly what it is. It's not fair because Adam said you do not take the player into consideration in this,
That's
and he
right.
totally was taking the player into
Hey.
consideration.
Okay,
That's
you could have
right.
taken him
You
as
could
the
have
number
too.
2 seed. We went back and forth when we were seeding these guys.
Uh-oh.
And you-
Exposed. Uh-oh.
Number 2
Yeah, I
was
had to
Magic.
take Magic though. I had to take Magic. All right. So anyway, that's the nicknames, and so the final four will be the Dream. It will be The Hick from French Lick. It's going to be the Mailman and the winner of this, Magic v. the Glove.
That's it.
Get on and vote.
Who of those four, Tyler? Who is your favorite nickname? Who has the best nickname?
I love the Mailman.
Oh,
the Mailman.
Oh,
I'm telling you, the Mailman's been getting a lot of love. He is the only one that really ran away with a couple.
It's classic.
So is the glove.
Yeah, but the glove is like, okay. It's a glove. Oh yeah, okay. I don't know. It's not bad. By the way, speaking of that, do you guys have a least favorite nickname of all time?
Least favorite nickname of all man. I'll tell you what. Why I think about it. Do you?
Oh, I do.
What is it?
It's anybody. Me and Adam have talked about this. I think it's anybody named the Problem.
Yeah.
Or like Bad News. You know, that is just a double-edged sword in my opinion.
Who's the Problem?
Well, right now that's what they call Gary Clark.
Yeah.
They call Gary Clark the Problem, and they mean the problem for the other team, right?
Sure, exactly.
Or you're just the problem. You know, it doesn't work if you're losing. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like on the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, I am the problem.
Oh.
But that's a good thing. It's a positive nickname
for Gary.
But you're saying literally you're the problem.
Literally the problem. That was my.
You guys ever heard of Marvin Barnes?
Yeah, Harrison Barnes' cousin.
Great, yeah, definitely. He was nicknamed Bad News, and I just don't think that's a good idea.
That's stupid.
Those types of nicknames.
You know
what I mean?
I feel like there's some really bad ones back in like old baseball nicknames, like old scrawny legs or
Lefty.
Lefty. Yeah, the guy was just left-handed.
It's everybody, just like everybody's a problem.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Everybody's a problem, but there's only one answer.
That's what I'm saying.
You just dropped the mic.
Yeah, if I could drop this mic, I'd drop it. All right, so from there we're going to move on to the Reds. You know what the Reds don't have issues with, though?
What's that?
They don't have issues with bugs on the field. Tyler, are you allergic to mosquito bites? Do you get a lot of mosquito bites?
You know, not over here, but I've been camping, so I have experienced it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for you.
I'm going to tell you this, that mosquitoes are terrible here in Cincinnati where we live. I get them bad. I don't get bitten that bad, but my kids get bitten terribly. Last year, I called Ohio Mosquito Control, and they came. And let me tell you, dude, not a bug in my yard. Not a single mosquito. I can go out by the pool all day. I don't have to spray the... Yeah. I'm sitting right there on the water, and no bugs coming at me at all.
That's impressive.
It is impressive.
That's so impressive.
Now, if you live in the Cincinnati area and you need some help with that, call. You can get a hold of Ohio Mosquito Control. www.ohio-mc.com. At Ohio Mosquito Control, they offer quality services to the Cincinnati area at reasonable prices. They are a family-owned and operated mosquito control service that is just a click away. Go to ohio-mc.com to start your personalized pest management today. Ohio Mosquito Control, the pest of the pest.
Now, Tyler,
Whoa.
you can give he's Cincinnati based. You can give the guy a call and see if he'll come out and take care of your. He's going to charge you thousands of dollars, probably.
Don't worry.
My man's got a family. He's probably going to want to bring the whole family out to L.A. Maybe catch Disneyland,
and you will be paying for that.
But I'll also be mosquito free.
You will.
So
and
yes,
it's worth
you
it.
will. It's worth to me. That's worth it.
I think so.
All right. So, like I said, the Reds don't have much trouble with the mosquitoes, but they do have problems with getting wins.
Oh, wins are a problem. Wins are the problem.
All right, we're not going to do this every time there's a problem. We're not going to call it the problem.
Yeah.
What's the answer? Allen Iverson.
Ohio Mosquito Control.
There you
Or
go.
wait, no. What's the answer for wins being the problem?
Bats.
Hitting, yeah.
Bats would
My
help.
brain, guys. My brain. I go to school. I can't do this.
Oh, you poor guy.
We're messy over here. We don't go to school, so we're messy on the podcast.
And we're allowed to be because it's the Nosebleed Sports Podcast.
Amen.
Tyler, you're a huge Reds fan. What
Massive.
is going on with these boys right now?
That's a big question. Let's listen, right? Listen. It's early, all right? I'll acknowledge that. We're 5 games in. We're 1-4.
Yep.
I get it. It's early. The Red Sox are 1-5, right? So why should we be worried? We're not worried about the Red Sox, right?
But the Red Sox also won the World Series,
exactly.
And we have had 4 straight 90-loss seasons.
Exactly. The weird thing to me is our pitching, for the most part, has been good, like pretty good. It's our bats that have not waken up yet. Votto, 222, Puig 188, Kemp a .83, right? So it seems that people are just having a slow time getting used to Cincinnati. That's I don't know. I don't know what else to chalk it up to.
It's hard to chalk it up to anything except for the fact that it's 100% a complete overreaction. This team is going to be a top 5 to 10 offensive team. We just gotta get out of the second week of the season. It's okay. Look what this team is right now. They have a team ERA of 3.
Right.
3.0. Do you know, I got goosebumps right now of how excited I am that this team has a almost sub 3, but I'll take it in the 3s for an ERA. I don't care if it gets to 3.9, I'd be happy with that. We just got done with the absolute worst pitching staff in baseball history last year. And this year, we are sitting at a 3. So we can talk about overreactions. Maybe I'm overreacting about this, but our bats are going to come around. Once everybody gets feeling comfortable, like you said, Tyler, in Cincinnati, we got a ton of guys that have been in winning situations. We have a ton of guys that are new. I just feel like it's we just need to take a big deep breath. It'll be okay. We're 1-4. By the end of the month, we'll be 10-6.
Yeah, they've scored 11 runs in 5 games. That's the lowest run total in Major League Baseball right now. They have the fewest runs in baseball. They're bottom 3 or 4 in almost every team statistical category offensively. They're just not hitting. They're not getting on base, so they're not stealing bases. They're not hitting for. They've got 3 home runs, which is like 4th worst or something like that. They're not hitting at all.
Take Puig out of the picture, okay? Don't count him. Even though he's 3 for 16, he's batting like 188 or something like that. Take him out of the picture. The other 3 starting outfielders are 1 for 42. That's not going to continue to happen.
No way.
That's impressively bad, actually.
It is.
Yeah.
It's like our pitching staff last year.
Well, something I think is going to be interesting is Matt Kemp was an all-star last year. He had a terrific year last year.
And he didn't start opening day. Big flipping whoop.
No.
He's got just as many at-bats as everybody else.
He's not – does he?
He's got 12. Winker's got 13. Puig's got 16. Schebler's got 17.
Okay, so that's kind of my thing is he did start – was it yesterday maybe?
Started today too.
He started today. So I feel like it just seems like he's might be the odd man out a little more often than everybody else, and I wonder if that's going to affect him if he's not ever going to get going because he's not playing every day.
Tyler, you got to watch him every day out there in L.A. What do you think that's something that could affect him? He's a veteran. He's seems to have a good head on his shoulders. Do you think that's something that would affect him?
Except for when he got ejected the other day in his first game or third game.
That was a bad call, though. I don't blame him. So the weird part is the new guys are having the most problems, right? So I will chalk this up to a new environment. They've been playing on the same team for such a long time, even though Kemp's been moving around. I get it, but it's new for everyone, right? So no matter how much of a veteran you are, I think that can really get to your head.
Sure.
I think it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback. But I did say I think we should have traded him in the offseason, try to flip him because there's no way he's going to be what he was towards, what was it, the end of last season or the beginning of last season, when he just went off. So I don't know how much I believe in Matt Kemp over the long run. But I'm not going to count him out just yet.
I think it's a good idea to sit him more than everybody else. Try to keep his old legs fresh. The dude's old. He's an old man.
How old is
Everybody thought he was
How old
washed
is he?
up.
My age?
I think it's 84. 84?
So
yeah,
my age.
are you 84?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's just it is going to be. And you mentioned maybe trading him in the offseason. We thought he was going to get traded this offseason after he was traded to the Reds. We thought he was going to get traded again.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Matt
saying.
Kemp was born 1 year after me. He's 34 years old.
Oh, that boy, he's so old.
Okay, we're not talking about in everyday life. We're talking
Guess
about
how old Joey
baseball
Votto
years.
is.
We're talking about baseball years. Joey Votto's exactly
Baseball
1 year
doesn't
older
matter.
than me, so he's
Joey Votto
36.
has no age.
Yeah, but
He doesn't
that's
know that.
you're talking about one of the greatest hitters of an era. Matt Kemp has been great and has been amazing, but he's 34 years old. Once it's just like in football, you get to that 30, 32,
way
33.
different in football.
Okay, it is, but it's you don't see as many. Look at this whole team. Who do we have that's over 30? Casale's 30. You got Roark. You got Hernandez and Zach Duke and Joey Votto. There you go. That's your guys over 30. It's not a ton. You don't see teams with guys over 30 on them. There's a reason. And Kemp's 34. So, yeah, he's been an all-star. He's been great in the past, but he needs the rest. He's going to need the rest. He's got old bones, man. He's got old baseball bones. I know you're going to keep looking at me with that. He's not old. He's only 34. In baseball years, brother, in baseball years, that's an old man.
So he needs the rest. Why doesn't Joey Votto need the rest? I mean, forget the hitting.
I think he does. I think Joey Votto does need more rest. He doesn't.
You don't want him in the lineup every day.
I do. I want him in the lineup every single possible day. But Joey Votto at 75% is better than anybody else on this team. Matt Kemp at 75% is not that good.
He also plays first base and walks twice a game. So, like, the energy
That's true.
level, I'm sure, would be less than a Matt Kemp playing the outfield.
Certainly. I still think Kemp in the lineup more often than Puig and more often than Schebler makes more
How
sense.
about
for me.
Schebler? Yeah.
Schebler's 0 for 17. The guy hasn't got a
That's
hit. We haven't
disgusting.
had a hit in the leadoff spot for the Reds has not had a hit in 5 games.
I mean, how much is the management, though? Right? The lineups. Right? Is it? I mean, I don't know. Some of the moves that Bell has made have frustrated me a little bit.
Pulling Castillo early in the first
yeah.
game.
Let's get into that. Yeah.
That, I mean, Adam knows. I'm a very passionate Reds fan. I care a lot, and it will affect my day whether they lose or win. So I've had about 90 to 100 bad days every year for like 5 years.
That'll fade as you get older, buddy. I promise.
There's no doubt about it.
Sure. But I understand that batters get better through the third time around with a starter. I get that, but I'd like to see that first before we start assuming that that's going to happen to these guys.
Yeah, not get 2 outs. Not get 2 outs in an inning. Give up a decently hard hit ball and then get immediately yanked.
Yes, Castillo and Disco threw fantastic games, and they both got pulled, in my opinion, too early. So it's frustrating me a little bit, but I could be wrong.
We knew that David Bell was going to be a big sabermetrics guy. You know, exactly like you said, Tyler, when you get to that third time around in a batting order, that batting average jumps up almost 120 points on average. That's huge. And I think that you're going to see a lot of that this year. You're not going to see a ton of starters in the 7th inning, I don't think, at all.
One of the reasons I think that's happened, and you can still question it even with this, but the pitching staff's been pretty good. You mentioned that earlier, and you're right. And they're ranked pretty high in a couple of things. Team ERA, I think they've given up the 5th fewest hits. It's 10th. They're 10th in team ERA, but that's still pretty good. They're in the top third. 6th, giving up the 6th fewest runs, the 2nd fewest home runs. But they have the 2nd most walks in the league right now, and that's been a big thing. All these guys, even these great pitching performances by, Castillo had 2. DeSclafani was really good. No starter yet has walked less than 3 guys in a start. And you had a couple with 4, and then the bullpen's coming in and giving up 2 or 3 or 4 as well. You have a lot you have a lot of guys walking against the Reds. And so maybe it's just an early season control thing, and maybe it's, DeSclafani, I think, threw like maybe 89 pitches or something the other day when he was pulled, and he was looking pretty good. So is it maybe just that early season thing where they're still kind of ramping up their innings? Not everybody was able to get 7 innings in a spring game, so they're still kind of stretching them out a little maybe. Or
how is that possible?
How is
it's spring training is like a year long. How do you not warm up by that time?
I feel like because you try to get so many guys. I mean, you've got several guys pitching every day that aren't even going to make the club. So you're pitching.
Man, this is 2019. It's 2019. These guys they are making so much money right now. They're not doing anything in the off season. They're not drinking beer. They're not hanging out like back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, or in the 40s and 50s where you had to have another job. These guys are getting paid to keep their body in shape all year long. They are healthy. These guys coming into spring training are as physically ready for baseball than ever before in the game's history. So as much as, you probably got to get your arm into some kind of shape, I don't know that by the time spring training's done, these guys aren't already ready to go. Like Castillo, I feel like Castillo. Yeah, I feel like Castillo could have went 9, no problem, that opening day. The guy was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that back in the day that might have been a thing, but these guys are keeping their arms fresh and keeping their bodies ready. They're ready to go by the time it gets there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm the farthest to know what athletes go through, but it is strange that you practice all off season for spring training, and then you use spring training to get ready for the season, and then you use the beginning of the season to get ready for more of the season. Right? It's a lot of getting ready.
I feel like there's always been a thing with that, though. Some guys start out and are great. I mean, you're especially a lot of your big time, like your best starters in the game are usually ready to go, deep into games. It's not that way for everybody. And I think I agree with you, Chris, that guys are generally more in shape now than they were before. And I'm sure they even have throwing routines and stuff like that in the offseason, but I think getting your arm in shape to pitch 9 hard innings is way different than having your body in shape to endure playing a game.
I think 3 months and what they do in the offseason with their arms is plenty of time.
I don't know that do you think they throw
100%? These guys are throwing. They're doing.
You think they're throwing hard enough to keep their arm in shape to where they are ready?
If they're not, then they're not doing their job. In my idea, I don't think they need to be going 100. I don't think they need to be going 100% in the off season. But these guys are throwing. I 100% think that they're throwing 7. Maybe it's only once every 2 weeks, but they're tossing. They're doing. Yes, they are. They are constantly. Listen, baseball, I know it's only 6 months out of the year, and then you add 2 months in for spring training, but the money you're getting, it's a year-long deal. You have got to take care of that for a year and get yourself ready to go. Take yourself a break, get your arms slowly back into shape. By the time you get to spring training, you work your way the rest of the way. I agree with Tyler. By the time the season gets there, it's season. It's go time.
The big thing is, right, the big picture is we're 1-4, right? If this happened in the middle of the season, it would be like a bummer, right? But because it's the beginning, it feels like a big, big deal. So it's as hard for me as it is. I'm trying not to worry about the start so much.
We have spoken about that over text where you can maybe overreact a little bit to things, right? And I try to calm you down.
You're talking to Chris, right?
I'm talking directly to you, Dr. Tyler Roope.
I've never overreacted in my life.
You and I have spoken about this, where I have to try to calm you down sometimes, and you have to try to convince me, okay, start caring a little bit more, old man. And
that's true.
Which is totally fair. But no, but. That's an interesting thing because a lot of people do, opening day, they had that great win. You had Derek Dietrich hit that home run. It was a very exciting game. And then everybody's like, holy cow, this is exactly what we were hoping for the Reds. This is going to be an awesome year. And then they lose their next 4 games, and I feel like people are already, oh boy, here we go. Same old Reds. All these moves didn't mean a thing, and now all these guys that they were excited about aren't worth anything, and they were average guys at best anyway. And when are the Reds actually going to ever do anything worthwhile? There's a lot of that stuff I think going on, and it happens throughout the season until they get 20, 25 games under 500, and then people just get apathetic completely. But
they started off last year 3-18. That's why 1-4 is tough.
Right.
That's why 1-4 to start the season is tough. It's different than in the middle of the year.
It is.
You have got, because everybody said this year it was all about we've got to have a good start. We've got to have a good start. Because otherwise, nobody's going to be at the games. Which, by the way, the Reds said. The Reds said.
I was about to say this.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Well, okay, yeah. Everybody, all the players, right, coming in, talking about how great it is to play in Cincinnati, all the things they've heard, and then all that stuff came true opening day when I believe they set a record for attendance.
Correct.
Right?
Yes,
and
that's
then,
correct.
What, 2 days later, 3 days later, they set the record for the least amount of people
in that stadium. That is correct.
In that stadium. So that is a drastic change for the players to go out and see. So I don't blame them for being a little bummed out about that.
In the fans' defense, it was 35 degrees in the middle of the week of a school year during the school. Even when the Big Red Machine was winning championships and being the greatest team to ever walk onto a baseball field, the Reds struggled in April and in August and in September because once school started, people don't go to the games as much because of how late they go through.
I feel like that obviously is very true. And no matter the reason, for the players, that drastic difference, plus having a day off, and then to be rained out right after that opening day, that's got to change the entire tone.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
You forget all about how great that opening day atmosphere is, and boom, now we're sitting here, and all you hear is people screaming because there's nobody there, just woo, woo.
And I hate that, by the way. Can we never? Why does that happen?
Brother, if I knew, I wish somebody'd do that by me. I wish they'd do it by me.
Every year. This comes up because the last 4 or 5 years at least, people have been doing this.
The only reason you hear it is because there's nobody in the stands. When they got a bunch of people there, you don't ever hear it because there's no chairs for it to bounce off of. It's just.
I would get one guy just started it one day, and someone else is like, "I'll make that sound too." I don't get how that starts.
You could just hear it because, like Chris said, there's nobody there, so you can hear what someone who's sitting behind home plate is saying when I'm sitting in the outfield. And that's just a fun thing because, okay, now I'm going to make sure somebody can hear me. And, oh, by the way, somebody just called me and said, I hear a woo. Someone wooing on TV.
Oh, it's like waving at the camera. Stop it. Behind home plate.
Oh, no. No, I just mean you can hear it on the broadcast. And if people get wind of that, I'm going to try to have people hear me on the broadcast because I'm at the ballpark wooing.
If I ever was with you and you wooed,
oh,
I've never left a game early in my life, and I wouldn't leave that game early.
Let me ask you. Do you see me wooing?
No, not in the least.
Absolutely not.
I see you getting super irritated. I see you getting up out of your seat, not going to another seat because Adam will only sit in the seat that is the ticket he bought. Oh, 100%.
I'm a rule follower.
They can be empty. Back in the day, the Reds used to have what they called top six. Yeah, So when the Reds played at Riverfront Stadium, they had a thing called Top Six, and they were $5 tickets. And me and Adam would go to a ton of games back when I was in high school and he was in high school and we were getting a little older. So we would go to a ton of games and we'd buy Top Six seats, and the place would be empty, and we have to go up to our seats and sit down. Top Six, Riverfront Stadium. That's high. And I'm sitting there like, dude, look at all them seats down there. Let's move down. Well, let's just stay here for just a minute. Let's see if somebody ends up coming and sitting in that entire section that's empty. But that's Adam.
That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's not.
Tell me that you
much
don't
of an
always
exaggeration.
go to the seat and sit down in the seat that's on your ticket.
Look, I do, but I have been in situations where it's if you're with a bunch of people and your seat, if you're with 6 or 8 people and your seat is at the other end and you walk in together and you end up sitting at the other, then no, yeah, it's more about who you're sitting next to.
That's different. Okay,
But
you sit in if you're with a group. You sit in one of that group's seats.
Look, if it's a completely empty ballpark, I'll sit wherever. That's fine. But if there are people around, I just don't want to have I'm so embarrassed about someone coming up and saying, I have the ticket for this seat. You have to get up and move. I'm so embarrassed about that possibility that I'm just going to sit in my seat so I know that's not going to happen.
And at the same time, he's also so embarrassed to go to an usher and say, that dude's sitting in my seat.
I would never.
That's the only time that he won't sit in his seat
That's
is if
so-
somebody is in his, he'll sit behind him
I
and
can't
wait.
have the confrontation. I can't inconvenience that guy either. I can't inconvenience that guy to get up.
I avoid confrontation at all costs.
See, thank you.
I will let someone do something rude and to me, and me not get mad at them because I feel too embarrassed to confront them about it.
Oh, not me. I love it. I enjoy nothing more than to say something to a stranger.
A smart alecky comment.
Oh, yes.
That, and then the stranger might get mad, and then Chris is like, whoa, buddy, I was just joking around.
Playing there, big dog.
When he really kind of wasn't, but kind of was.
100%. I was not kidding. Yeah. Nice hat there, ding dong. No, I'm dead serious, dude. I want to buy one of those.
So sarcastic. And then the person starts feeling that sarcasm, and they're like, dude, what's your problem? He's like, and then Chris is like, whoa, what do you mean? I really like it. And then it
Next thing you know, we're FaceTube friends, and we're going out, hanging out together.
You know what? On my show today, I said the Facebook. And I blame you 100%. And I said it, and immediately I went, oh my God.
Hey.
I am Chris.
Sometimes you go to the Kroger's, or you gotta,
I could not believe
the
I said
Facebook.
that.
Good. It's hard for a millennial to do something like that, so I'm proud of
I
you.
could not believe it. I don't know.
Oh, goodness. All right, so are we done with the Reds? Okay,
I'm done. I'm not watching a game
thoughts.
the rest of the year. I'm
Tyler,
sick of these guys.
Final
they can't hit.
Final
they
thoughts.
can't win. They can't do anything.
Tyler, final thoughts on what what you think is going to happen with these Redlegs.
All right, so number one, Adam, I know I overreact, but it's just a healthy balance between us. You don't react enough. I overreact. We meet in the middle. 2, I think the Reds are going to be fine. It is 1-4 at the beginning. Like I said, if it was 1-4 in July, it would not feel the same. So let's just wait a month, maybe 2, and see what happens.
I'm good with a month. Let's let April get by.
I need
1 month,
at least a month.
Yeah.
I need maybe 2.
No, I don't need 2 because you can
That's
get
a
too
third
far
away.
behind there. You can get too far behind in 2 months.
You
I need a
can,
month.
but-
Where you at in a month? That's going to tell me a lot about where your season's going to be.
We've seen
6
we've
months
seen a lot of
out every year.
we've seen a lot of turnarounds though. First halves, you can go whole halves where a team is not that good and then unbelievable the second half, or unbelievable the first half, and
not that good. Not that good. Not horrible. Not
Hopefully,
3-18. Not 3-18.
No, yeah, 3-18 is a lot different than 1-4 though. I mean,
Yeah, I completely agree. Listen, that brings us into what we want to go into next. So, overreaction. I think that there's a lot that goes into overreaction. I think you can still have a reaction to how bad they're doing right now, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the Reds is, oh, here we go, it's the same old, same old. I agree with Tyler. Let's just take a deep breath. We'll wait for it. Let's see what happens. I think it's a month, but other than that, get into your Chris Stapps. Let's hear what you think about this.
well, it's good that you mentioned a basketball thing because the overreaction, and it's so prevalent right now. It's just I think the way the culture has gone that there's an overreaction to everything. We especially see it in politics right now. If you're on Twitter, even if you don't follow politicians or anything, you are going to get a big dose of politics and everybody's overreaction. It also happens in sports. The overreaction that makes me want to set the world on fire right now, not in a good way, I mean actually set it on fire and just blow the whole thing up.
Wow.
Is the
Stay away from this guy.
Is the
That's right.
basketball games where a guy crosses another guy over, maybe crosses him over again, makes him fall, and everybody runs onto the basketball court. Everybody runs onto the floor.
Dude, the N1 mixtapes have been out of...
It's not even N1 mixtapes. It happens all the time. Like, you just see it happening all the... If it's not like an official sanctioned game, if it's any kind of game other than that, even like these pro-ams that they do that have gotten pretty big in the summer, people run on the floor and mob the guy that
Look,
did it. That is the most annoying thing to me. That is the biggest overreaction. Oh, because I know what I'm doing with the basketball, and you have to react to what I'm doing to defend me. But you're reacting. You're always going to be behind me. So I make a move, you go that way, and physics tells me that your body is not designed to like a very small handful of people, 0.0001% of the population can handle that. Like Zion Williamson and 2 other people in the world can stay in front of you because they're that athletically gifted. So I make you fall down and embarrass you. So now I'm a hero to the masses.
Yeah, here we go.
See, that was an overreaction.
That was an overreaction.
Is.
Here's the deal. Are we talking about that specifically, or are we just going to talk about overreactions?
If you want me to talk about Kristaps Porzingis, I will. But.
No, are we talking about overreactions, or do you want me to comment on the whole story you just had?
Let's just talk overreactions.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, no, Tyler wants us to do that.
Okay, Tyler,
tell me what you think about that.
No, okay. On one hand, I get it, right? You're not, like you said with the N1 mixtapes, you're not out here like, what's that guy, the professor?
The
right?
professor,
Yeah. People. It's not like you're him, right? You cross the eye over in the NFL. But I love that stuff, guys.
I'm with you. Hey, listen, there's a guy that used to be in the N1 mixtape deal. He eventually actually made it to the NBA. That's where I got my nickname from. Sick with it.
Oh.
There you go.
I had no idea.
There you go.
I love that, man. I love the stepping over people.
Oh.
I love the... Oh, you hate that?
What a turkey. You're such a turkey.
Wait, mister. I like following the rules.
Yep, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Oh, my gosh. Bryce Harper just bat flipped. Oh, my gosh. How?
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
my gosh. I can see Adam watching 1, 2, 3 flips in the air. That's it. I'm done. Can't stand Bryce Harper.
It's like the Antonio Brown hip bump thing. It's one too many.
Yeah,
right?
how many?
One flip too many.
Is that the pelvic thrust thing?
The pelvic thrust. How many thrusts am I allowed? You can have 1 pelvic thrust. Oop, that was only a half. Key and Peele did a really good thing on that. If you ever go on YouTube, Key and Peele. That's really funny. Anyway, but overreactions just in general. All right, overreactions in general. And I blame it on Twitter. I love Twitter and I hate Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I love Twitter because there's so much information on there, and I hate it.
That's why you love Twitter.
That's the reason I love it.
Yep.
Well, I'm an old man though, so
we now know that Tyler loves it because of all the videos of people crossing over and dunking. The other one,
Hey.
dunking on people. Why is the comment always, oh, he murdered him, he
posterized.
he disrespected him.
Oh no, Tyler, he is dead serious right now.
It's not disrespectful to dunk.
Serious.
It's not disrespectful to dunk on someone. It's just a basketball play, and it happens all the time, and it's going to happen if you try to block a shot.
Why such strong opinions? You're not getting dunked on, right? I bet if you got dunked on, you feel pretty bad. And if you dunked on somebody, I bet you feel pretty good.
I've been dunked on. I've been dunked on. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah. You feel good if you dunk on somebody. You don't feel so good if you get dunked on. But it's a basketball play. It's worth the same amount of points whether you shot a 16-footer or you dunked on somebody.
I can't tell if he's doing this.
It gets people. Look, it does get the crowd all excited. Because
I can't tell if you're being serious.
I'm with you, Tyler. I can't tell if he's being serious or if he's just trying to play into the overreaction segment.
I'm being mostly serious. I really do hate that people overreact so badly to those plays, to crossovers and dunks on people. It really drives me crazy. But
it shows that you're better than the person that you were just went against, and those are the two biggest ways to show you're better. Guy falls down. Guy falls down. You overpower somebody.
It's not at all the best ways to show you're better, and it doesn't mean that you're better than someone.
It doesn't, but it looks like it. It's the looks.
The offensive player has such an advantage over the defensive player.
Sure.
It doesn't mean, right, that you're better, but in that moment, you are better. In that one moment, you are the best in your entire planet.
Yes.
Right? You are number one. So you feel it for a sec, and then your buddies hype you up. That's all it is. It's supporting.
It's some hype, dude. It's supporting your boys.
It's supporting your boy. And how could you hate on that, Adam?
Adam can hate on anything.
Support it the same way. If I hit an 8-foot floater,
golf clap. You want me to golf clap?
Yes.
I'll golf clap.
Either do that or run on the court and mob me if I knock down a 10-foot jumper.
Well, actually, that's probably the most difficult shot in basketball anymore. But oh man, I had something I was gonna say and now I can't remember what it was. Son of a gun.
Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're not. All right. Anyway,
listen.
Overreaction.
You kind of mentioned it. It happened to me, and but like overreactions bother me, and they're so bad right now because it's just gotten that way in our culture. But it's really hard not to. Now, I went through that whole thing and talked about how awful it is and everything, but I get drawn into it too sometimes.
Yeah, of course you do. Real quick before we go, this is what I'm going to say.
Okay.
If you're going to overreact as a fan and mob the court, and somebody if I cross you over and you fall, nobody is allowed on the court unless I make the shot. That's my rule.
Same.
I cross you over, I can stare at you for a second, but then I got to make the shot. If I don't make the shot, everybody stay in their seats. That's what I say.
Definitely. Everybody stay in your seats if I make the shot.
No way. That is so great.
A game.
That is so great.
Oh
Who cares? It's not sanctioned. It's just for fun. It's an exhibition. Let's get hype. Let's get hype.
I don't play basketball for fun.
Overreactions. All right, overreactions. So this happens all the time on Twitter. We get into people that something happens to somebody, and it usually has to do with some kind of sexual nature, or somebody said something and it's clipped, and the whole thing isn't actually said, and people just go bananas. And within a day, everybody is turned around and stopped because whatever was out there is turned around and they realized they were stupid and wrong. Like this happened with Russell Westbrook in Utah. Everybody was on Russell Westbrook because they got video of him cussing this dude out. Turns out this dude's all over Twitter before that saying some nasty things about Russell Westbrook. And sounds like that was the guy who started this and was wrong. I don't blame Russell Westbrook for coming back. Overreaction. We overreact to the initial thing. Happens every day. I can't stand that.
Mm-hmm. But very hard to avoid getting caught up.
Sure it is. Sure, it's really hard to avoid to get caught up.
You mentioned
Tyler. How do you keep from getting caught up in that?
Man, that's tough. It's social media, you know.
No, I don't. I'm just learning about this. Truth, I'm just learning about this social media
You just
thing.
have to, much like the Reds start to the season, when information comes out and somebody says something, you just gotta wait. You gotta wait a second.
Sleep on it, right? Sleep on
it. And then if in the morning nothing new comes up and it is what he said, then okay, you can start getting a little upset. But you just gotta wait. You gotta wait it out at the beginning.
I like that. I like that. A guy once told me if you get upset with somebody, if somebody does something or says something and you're upset, before you go back at them, like if this is in an email through work or something like that, before you get on your email and start blowing them up or whatever you're going to do, sleep on it. Go to bed, wake up the next morning, see how you feel, then go ahead and do what you got to do.
That's a great idea. If I see somebody cross somebody over and the guy falls, I'm gonna sleep on it and see how I feel about it the next
cow.
day. I'm gonna see how I feel about it the next day.
I did not know we were gonna get into this at all, Tyler. I had no idea this was part of what today was gonna be. Adam can't stand and one.
No, that's not true.
Is great. I've watched some N1 YouTube videos.
Oh, were you born, Tyler? Were you born when there was And One mixtape came out?
I've watched YouTube video. Hey, what's his name? All right, wait. I know the professor, right?
Yep.
And I know Guy Dupuis. Do you guys know who Guy Dupuis is?
Ooh, nope. I don't remember. Do you know Escalade? You know the Escalade?
Yeah, big man.
Big boy.
Yeah. Okay, see, I know some stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Sammy knows where he's at. Yeah, you don't know nothing about Sick With It, though, do you?
No, I don't.
That's right. You look up Sick With It on YouTube. You see me doing all kinds of things.
I bet.
Yeah, no, it's not and one for me. It's just the overreaction to what I think is a good play. Yes, you got an advantage. And you made a play. You made a play that was impressive. That's great. You made somebody fall down. I think maybe it's more like that. Like it's more about people enjoying the embarrassment of somebody else. Maybe that's part of it for me. Is I have a hard time with that, I guess, because I think that's what it is for a lot of people. I think people enjoy. Now, I've seen some of these plays, some crossovers where guys fall, and I think it's really funny. It looks really funny, and it makes me laugh.
That's the point.
But it's not. It's people put these moves on a pedestal, like it's like they won a championship, like they won the NBA championship in a little gym, huh?
For a moment, they did.
But it's not anywhere close to the same.
I would say it's even better.
I love it. Wait, that's exactly right, Tyler.
I see what he's doing.
Yes,
here.
that is beautiful. On that note, we're an hour and 10 minutes into this thing. Before we get out way too far offhand, we're not going to get into Russ. We'll probably talk about that next week. But I understand that both Tyler and Adam have prepared a couple swipe left, swipe rights in honor of episode 8, Adam's dating site episode, which is one of my all-time favorites. One of my all-time favorites. I've listened to it multiple times. Anyway, so in honor of that, and it's the 50th anniversary, we haven't done swipe left, swipe right in a couple weeks. So let's bring it back. Adam, you want to start?
I think I'm going to let Tyler go first.
Let's let T-Bone do it.
All right, I have two. One's a bit okay. Whatever. Are you guys familiar for the first swipe left, swipe right? On my show today, I played the 1990 Cincinnati Reds hit single "Reds Hot." I don't know if you guys know about this. Do you know about this?
Very familiar.
Tyler, there was an episode of ours before we started with the intro that we do now every time. We were going through different things, and we once used "We are the Reds. We're red hot."
Fantastic.
So Mariano Duncan, just if you get a chance to, Mariano Duncan, without a doubt, the best verse in that whole thing. Don't do drugs and don't be a user.
Yeah. Real quick, my favorite line is, "Here's a special message for you. Say no to drugs. Say no to crack. Just hit the books and the ball with a bat, and you can win the World Series of life." Come on.
Those are great words. Was that Herb Winningham or was that Barry Larkin?
No, it was not
Eric
Barry
Davis.
Larkin.
Eric Davis, I think. That's Eric Davis, the one about crack.
Oh,
Eric Davis said crack, I think.
Because Darryl Strawberry was good friends with him and he loved
That's
crack.
right.
He loved Coke. He was a
sorry,
Coke kid,
sorry.
Man. Come on, man. He didn't do
Get
crack.
your drugs right out of him.
My
Don't offend
bad.
me like that.
Peyote. We got peyote in here today.
Mushrooms,
we got mushrooms. We got
Dude, I
crack.
didn't
We got
expect
Coke.
it.
What the hell
It
kind of
just
podcast
happened.
is this? Joe Rogan?
It just happened. Anyway, my swipe left first one is that song. Just in general, today.
Swipe
if you heard
right.
it today.
Swipe right.
Yes?
Oh, God.
Adam?
Yes. One of my top 10 favorite songs of all time, and I would still listen to that every day.
I'm torn between swipe right and hit the home button. and get out of it completely?
Why would you want to get out of this? This isn't even a tough question.
Because
Don't
it's-
you want to win the World Series of life?
I love.
Yes, exactly.
No, I don't. I would probably overreact to that and just do something crazy. I love it because that's my favorite baseball team of all time. I watched that there was Tyler. I don't know if you know about Wire to Wire. It was a home video that Major League Baseball produced and put out. It was about the 1990. Okay,
They actually have that.
That's
that
what it reminded people.
yeah, they have them recording that in the.
Yeah.
so I watched that probably over 300 times, and it was.
Well,
I just like I can rehearse the entire thing, like the narrator, all the stuff that he said, all the stuff that from the audio clips and stuff that they played and the videos that they played. But this song was so
Get
corny,
outta here.
so
Get outta here.
corny.
All right,
Spud
Tyler.
McKenzie.
Oh my
Next. Adam's just made me so mad I can't even see straight
It's so
right now.
it is so corny. Go back and listen to
No,
the
I've
whole
listened
thing.
to it multiple times. I still listen to it at least once a
I
week.
love it because it's those guys. It's
I
just
agree.
It's
it
so
was like
awesome.
early
It's so
hip hop, and it was just so
Get out of
awful.
town. Get out of town. Tyler next. No. Because
oh.
Adam. Because your answer was so bad. Your turn. Your turn to come up with what's your swipe
Yeah, I
left,
wanna
swipe
answer
right.
one, dang it.
Okay. So instead of a swipe left, swipe right,
Oh,
Here we go. Jeez, Pete.
I want to ask Tyler. I want to give Tyler a challenge.
Love this.
Tyler, I need your favorite St. Louis Cardinal and favorite Pittsburgh Steeler of all time.
Stop.
Gary Gaetti and Lynn Swan.
Okay, so I got Chris's. I need Tyler's.
You said Arizona Cardinal?
No, St. Louis.
Cardinals.
That's what I thought you said. And
You
I
may not
can't
know
believe
Gary
that's what it
Gaetti,
is.
Tyler. Gary Gaetti is a human being with the only human being on Earth with a larger nose than me.
my wow.
He said, "Wow."
Adam, that's for those who don't know. I really don't like those two franchises.
Really? I just picked those two
Yeah.
random. I just picked
I
those two
bet you
teams
did.
randomly.
I have a least
As a guy who was
Does that
born and
help?
raised in the L.A. area, why are those the two teams you don't like?
Don't be fooled by my location. All right, I growing up, you guys know this.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, it was only Cincinnati. That was it. Growing up, I couldn't name the Dodgers players. You know, it was all Cincinnati all the time. So their rivals were my rivals. You know, I have no reason to not like Xavier. I have no reason, but I do, and that's just in me.
It's okay.
Sorry, Chris.
It's okay. It doesn't
Um,
bother me. I grew up with that my whole life. Listen,
My
Tyler,
favorite.
you can
Oh, yeah, go on.
pull an Adam and hit the home button if you want.
No, you can't.
Absolutely not. My favorite Cardinal of all time. Okay, I'll do a recent one because it's easy to say like the greats because I wasn't around. But I really liked when Matt Adams was on the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you got to like a
he-
big fat guy that can hit.
that's
Kind of
right.
reminds you
That's
of
what
Sean
I'm saying.
Casey.
So I really liked Matt Adams. Not so fat Adams now. I think. My favorite Steeler of all time is
Juju.
Stop.
Hines.
Don't even get me started on Juju Smith-Schuster. Don't even say his name. Don't stop it. No B's. I'm gonna say James Conner. All right. He's gonna be
Okay.
my favorite.
I like
Steeler
that.
because
Okay.
he's
I'm
new,
good with that.
And the man went through a lot, and I have no reason to hate him. Right.
I like it. That's good.
That's gonna be my answers.
All right. So Tyler, what do you got next? Swipe left, swipe right.
All right, because of the new Bryce Harper situation, my swipe left, swipe right is destroying a player's jersey when they move to another team.
Swipe
Oh,
left. I think it's the
easily
dumbest
swipe
thing.
left.
Swipe left. I can
agree.
love you to death, but that's not gonna. Just because you left, I understand that that business is business, and maybe as a kid, maybe if you're a child and you don't understand that professional sports is a business, I can understand it. But as a grown human being who has a large or extra large jersey that you're burning right now, you just spent $100 and whatever on to get the jersey. It's the dumbest thing. I swiped left on that so hard that I broke my finger when I swiped.
I think
nothing.
Go ahead.
No, you go. No, you go.
I think people feel like they're such big fans, and that's why they do that. You are not a fan. You are not a real fan if you do that. And you think you're doing that because you think you're such a big Cleveland Cavaliers fan, or you're such a big whatever fan. Yeah, burning the jersey, booing somebody when they come back to play you.
Thank you.
Garbage.
That's what I was about to say.
You're a garbage fan.
Depends on what you said. If you said something,
guess.
but I listen. I've always been a proponent of. I don't ever root against the opposing team. I try to just stay positive and root for the team I'm rooting for. The only negative I do is against the refs. But honestly, I mean, I don't. The last thing I would ever do is if you come into my stadium, I don't want you to have a bad time. Whether it's fans of another team or somebody on the field, I'm not gonna sit here and call you names. You're you probably got feelings too, man. I feel for you.
Probably.
Yeah, you got feelings too. You know, just because you put a jersey on doesn't make you any different than me. So I hate that.
I was so mad when I saw people boo Bryce Harper. Because Bryce Harper's number one mission was to find a long-term deal, right? And the Nats were not offering that. So, and why would they ever boo someone for wanting some stability?
Dude,
right?
they were deferring money to like 2050.
Yeah.
That's not a joke. Like, I'm not kidding. They were deferring. They wanted to defer money out for him that far out.
It just, that really makes me extremely upset. Plus, as a fan, I know if I met that player, I would want to talk to them, take a picture. If you met them, would you boo them to their face?
Heck no.
Like, no, you would not.
No.
Never. If I met, honestly, 100%, if Antonio Brown was still on the Steelers and he was at UCLA, I would try everything to meet him. Everything.
Yep.
Right? But I don't like him.
I don't know, but I don't know if I would go after. That'd be one dude I'd probably try to stay away from.
Nah,
I like Harrison, Jerome Harrison, or whatever, James Harrison. Like he's a scary guy, but I would definitely go up try to talk to him. I don't know. There's something that's just the one player in all of the NFL. Him and Odell Beckham Jr. I probably would not want to go up and say hi to or even talk to. Everybody else, 100%. Well, Ben, you're right. Ben, I wouldn't want to go to him either. So let's take those three out. Everybody else, I'm good with. And Odell's on the borderline. I probably would still go up to Odell. But those other, but Ben and AB is just some weird sons of guns. Anyway.
Yeah. I swipe left too. Don't do that.
Good.
Right?
Last but not least, Adam, give us your last swipe left, swipe right to finish off episode number 50.
Swipe left or swipe right? Greg Popovich getting ejected 53 seconds into the Spurs game tonight.
Did that happen?
That did happen.
All right, so then I guess swipe right. If it happened, how do I swipe left against that?
How do you feel about it?
How do I feel? Do I like that he got kicked out?
53 seconds into the game.
I'm gonna swipe right. He probably was hungry. He wanted some food. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna swipe right. He deserved it. I mean, he deserved it in a good way, like to be able to leave whenever he wants. I'm gonna say swipe right.
Okay. I think I'm agreeing with Tyler. Swipe right. I don't care when you get kicked out.
It's the Joey Votto thing on a Sunday at the end of a long road trip where he's gonna strike out in the first inning and he's getting ejected.
And
he's done.
All of a sudden a whole different human being comes out. Like you see this guy once a year, you see this Joey Votto once a year or once every 2 years, and like you said, it's on a Sunday day game after a long road stand like in LA or something, and it's a ball or it's a strike, and it is 100% a strike, but Votto says, all of a sudden, I'm going to turn into Devil Baby and go bananas. Bananas.
His skin turns green, his pants turn purple and they rip off. His shirt rips off.
I wish his shirt ripped off. That's another guy. I'm extremely attracted to Joey Votto.
Hey, you're into what you're into. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's 2019, man.
That's all I'm saying.
Listen, speaking of Greg Popovich, he just got ejected like 3 days ago too, so he's on a little streak right now. But the Spurs are in the playoffs for the, what is it, like the 20th, 19th, 18th year in a row or something like that. That's so impressive. I love the Spurs because of him and R.C. Buford and just the culture they've developed there and all the winning over the years and all their players and how they have done everything. That and the very last thing, I don't want to wait till next week. We don't have to talk about it a lot. Russell Westbrook scored 20 points, had 20 rebounds, and 21 assists. Is that
Shout
right?
out.
Last night, the second 2020 game in the history of the NBA. The other one was the person that owns every single record until it's broken, which is Wilt Chamberlain.
UCLA legend,
that's all I have.
UCLA legend is right. This guy is Russell Westbrook is, Adam, his exact quote last night in our little text group was, "I would kiss him on the lips if I was at the game." So Adam, Russell Westbrook is a phenomenal basketball player, and to be doing this with Paul George on his team, dropping 20 to 25 a game at the same time is phenomenal. I think he is putting himself into an echelon where in history, maybe not right now because of the type of person he is, but when it comes to history, they're going to view him in a completely different way than he's viewed now. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be on a much higher stance, a higher pedestal than I think way he's viewed right now in the fans' view in the NBA.
I agree with that. Yep. I used to be a huge Kevin Durant fan and Russell Westbrook fan. I've always kind of liked Westbrook a little bit more than Durant, but I loved both those guys. They've kind of worn down on me a little bit, and they just seem to be in a bad mood all the time.
They are.
Both of them.
Are. And Kevin Durant gets one more technical, and he's got to serve a 1-game suspension.
Yeah, he got fined along with Draymond Green and Steph Curry the other day for talking about the officiating after the game, and then the next game got ejected last night in their win against the Nuggets, which was a big game.
Yeah.
Scored 21 points and got ejected in the third quarter. Durant's just always mad about stuff. Westbrook's always mad about stuff. They're incredible to watch play.
Sure.
And tougher to root for.
What? Why is that a fine?
What's that? You want to hold on. Just Tyler, before you open this can of worms, are you about to ask, why is it a fine to argue with the ref? Is that what you're about to ask?
I won't ask it like that.
Okay. Just be careful.
Why is it a fine to mention him by name?
Oh, in the post game or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. I'm glad you brought it that way because
we're adults.
I think me and Adam both can't stand when people get in the face of a referee during a game. I understand at the end of the game, you have a press conference, you're going to ask me a question. Why can't I give you an answer? But I can't tell you, like, y'all can look it up and figure out what the guy's name is. What's the big deal if I mention him by name or specifically say something about the refs? I don't like that rule in general.
Adam, what do you think about that one?
And I didn't even know he did that, but if he specifically called out a referee's name, I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think you can do that. I don't, because the media, if the media asks one of those guys, you were terrible tonight, or if a referee would be interviewed and say Kevin Durant was terrible tonight, what do you think? How do you think Kevin Durant is going to react to that?
Yeah.
I mean, and the referees have to be on this totally different, a totally different set of standards for those guys. The Draymond Green, every guy, it doesn't matter. Draymond Green, anybody. So many guys are constantly screaming at these officials, and they are not allowed to react. Like the officials are not allowed to show any demonstrative behavior, can't get back in the face of anybody, can't raise their voice.
Not getting interviewed after the game to give their side of anything.
They are expected to be a statue, a robot, and they are constantly being abused. You cannot. I don't care how bad they are, or how bad you think they are. If you're a player, which every player thinks the referees are terrible, but you just can't call out a specific guy. I just don't think. I think it would be a double standard thing. I don't think. Yeah. I just.
Tyler, I gotta say,
go the other way.
I think I agree with Adam. After that explanation, he's changed my mind.
I guess my only problem is we all know who he's talking about. So why is the name give a monetary fine?
Well, I don't think it's a name. If you say something about the referees in general, and it's like Adam said, for those reasons the biggest one for me is they don't have an opportunity to explain themselves to the media for that reasons. But you can't say. I don't think it was specifically the fact that he said someone's name. It's just the fact that he talked about the way that the game was refereed. If he mentioned a name, maybe the fine went up a little bit higher than it would have been, but he would have got fined anyway if you complain about the refs.
I guess NBA is a little different because baseball, I feel like sometimes the refs umps do a bit too much.
Oh, the umpire! Oh, that's a completely different.
So
those umpires want TV time. You ever seen some of these dudes with their out calls and all this other garbage? One on Joe West. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Yes, 100%. It is completely different in the in Major League Baseball than it is in the NBA.
So that's where my head's at because some umps just throw people out because they're bored. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, who I think is a very underrated, really, really good Major League umpire? Angel Hernandez.
Stop.
If you could see his face right now, he just backed away from me because he wanted to get out of arm's reach.
I had to do that. I had to do that for Tyler.
You want to talk about a guy who wants everybody to know that he's behind the plate? He wants literally. Yeah, there's nothing. Tyler, he was doing it just. I was joking.
I've never heard anyone say anything good about that guy.
And somehow he's still a crew chief. How are you a crew chief?
I have an answer to that, but we don't have to get into that.
All right. Well, listen. Hey, Tyler. One more time, let everybody know how to follow you on the Twitter and the IG.
Yeah, Tyler Roope on Twitter and Instagram, and if you want to go on Facebook, I have a show every Wednesday, The Cheap Seats, UCLA sports and stuff. But I talk about the Reds a lot, so tune in if you ever want that. My bad, the Facebook. The
Facebook.
Yeah.
The Facebook.
Get it right.
The Facebook. Exactly.
And the Twitter and the. I don't think you have a name for the Instagram, do you?
The IG. I don't know what else to call it. The IG. I call it the IG. Is that do the kids say? I feel like I've heard somebody
IG.
Say the IG. Right. That's
IG.
That's a thing. Tyler, you're a young man.
I'll answer that. People have said that. Yes.
Yes.
That's what you asked me. So that's a real answer.
That's why we brought you on.
But
everybody's sick of hearing the old dogs. We needed some
us rum dums over here.
A while ago, somebody said the lit on here, and I almost had to turn it off. I don't know.
Somebody said lit.
Chris did, I think.
Oh, I probably did. Yeah, I probably did.
I was disgusted.
You gotta turn it up, man. It's like you gotta get this joint lit. It's prime.
Hey,
it's prime.
Turn down lit. For what, guys?
Turn down for what?
Oh no!
Are we all doing shots now?
Oh, it's not dark.
All right, this is getting bad. All right, so Tyler, thank you for coming on. This has been the 50th episode of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. Adam, congratulations! If we get to 50 more, Bobby Edwards is going to soundproof our studio.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. We only got to do 50 more. So one more year, and we'll be there. So
let's just do 50 straight days. So in like a month and a half, he's got to come in here and do that.
So we appreciate everybody who goes and listens. Big thanks to everybody out there. And next week, we're going to do a lot of NBA playoff talk. So we apologize to begin with. Be a lot of NBA playoff.
I don't apologize.
A little bit of the NCAA finals because that'll be over with. We'll get into that. A whole I got some stuff I want to get into OKC. I want to get into the Spurs. There's a lot of NBA playoff stuff I'd like to talk about. And of course, next week we're going to kick off. We're trying to figure out, we did the big three for the NBA this year. We're going to try to figure out how we're going to get the big three or something of that nature with Major League Baseball. So we're going to do a little more national Major League Baseball, obviously focus more on the Reds, get into some more national stuff. And until then, thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to turn your headlights on.